Hello, my name is Alicia and I run the blog littleonioncloth.com where I talk about how to choose, use, and troubleshoot cloth incontinence products from cloth diapers to leak-proof underwear, as well as sharing my knowledge from my Etsy shop on how to sew these items. But for today, we are going to be talking about how to find your size and check your fit on a front closure cloth diaper, like pockets and fitteds and covers, etc. And so when you're online looking at products, and there's a variety, right? The most important thing that you need to know before you choose which size to buy is your own measurements. Like what is your waist measurement? In the sizing world, we most often see waist as being the narrowest part of your body, which is right above the belly button up here. But on cloth diaper, when it comes to cloth diapers and choosing waist size, it usually means where the diaper sits on the body, which is in most cases, a couple of inches below the belly button on what is termed in the pattern grading world the high hip, which is right across the top of your hip bones. And so, for example, if we take my mannequin's measurements, just the important thing is to keep the measuring tape parallel to the ground. And obviously you won't be made of plastic, so the tape measure won't be slipping around so bad. And then you just so my mannequin is roughly about 33 inches. And so this is a pocket diaper, an Ecoable pocket diaper, one of their older versions. Their newer versions have 3 snaps, and it's a size regular. And you can see I have it snapped. I could go one more layer, which it needs it. It's a size regular, and it's actually too big for my mannequin. And why is that? Well, the rule of thumb for checking the fit on a front closure diaper is to be able to kind of do the stretch test, if you will. So what you want to do is you want to be able to slide your fingers, in between the waist and the diaper, either on yourself or if it's someone you care for, and you want to pull out. And you can see this is very loose, which if my mannequin was a person who sat down all the time or was in a wheelchair or something, it's not as big of a deal. But if my mannequin is someone who, has to walk around and do things, then that's going to be a problem, because one of the downsides of pocket diapers is that all the absorbency is in the crotch, right? In those inserts. And when those get wet, they get heavy and they tend to sag, dragging down the whole diaper, which is why a lot of people like to wear onesies over pocket diapers and stuff, because it just helps keep things up where they're supposed to be. So anyways, so you want to make sure that it's snug enough in the waist. And so when you're online and you're looking at the size chart and you're like, okay, so I'm waist 33, what size should I get? The most important thing to keep in mind is that you want to get a size that where your measurement is going to be as close to the mid-range of the waist size as possible, right? Because most pocket diapers, they come with a wide range of waist sizes. The company might say, oh, this waist size fits size 28 to 40, but the ideal is 32 to 38, right? And so you're going to want to make sure that you're in that mid-range, so you have, for 2 reasons. 1, then you have more room for adjusting, and 2, the downside to front closure products like this one is that the wings tend to hang out, right? And then you gotta tuck them in, and they're kind of a pain in the butt. And so if you're at a mid-range, then then you're gonna have less of extra here hanging down and being annoying. So, so that's, see, as you can see, this is a pain in the butt. But anyways, when it comes to checking your leg measurements, you know, you want to do the same test, and as we've decided, this is way too big. But the leg, having a nice snug leg opening is to prevent leaks, right? Leaks are most likely going to happen along the inner leg right here, and so you want to make sure that it's a nice tight fit. Otherwise, you know, you're gonna be more prone to having leaks down there. And so there's a couple of ways that you can adjust the leg opening on a pocket diaper. One is by shortening the rise snaps, right? If I were to, you know, snap this up here, which is obviously better done when you're not wearing the product, you know, you can see it's gonna shorten that leg opening. Another thing you can do is to take this bottom snap and then just shift it over one here, and again, there we go. And so, I mean, and then you'd have to shift this one over, but because I'm already at the, you know, the max here, it's not gonna, I don't have an extra snap. But that's just kind of a trick if you're like, oh, it just needs to be a little bit tighter. Yeah, you just shift over this bottom row of snaps by one, and that's gonna tighten that leg opening just a little bit. Now, if you're like, well, I'm not really sure, like it feels okay. The biggest thing is that like you don't want to take off the product and have red marks on the skin around the leg and around the waist. Then that means that it's too tight, and that's going to rub and chafe and be very uncomfortable, especially if the seam gets a little moist, which it will eventually, because that's just the way the cloth works. So yeah, so just to kind of recap what we went over, the most important thing is to know your own measurements when choosing what size of cloth diaper that you should buy, and second, to choose the size where your measurement falls in the mid-range of that size. And then second, we talked about how to check the fit. You want to make sure that it is snug but not too tight and not too loose. And yeah, so that concludes our video for today. Thank you for joining me. If you have any questions or you want to learn more, please feel free to check out my blog or to reach out to me by email. Those links are in the description below. So until next time.